Very good morning, everyone. How are you all? So it's very difficult to ask that question nowadays. Prelims preparation, okay. So it's a general interaction. I just want to share my experience, few tips with you about upcoming preliminary examination, about how to make use of the remaining days for 2021 prelims, and if someone is planning to give 2022 exam, how to go about it, right? In a way, my main effort will be to motivate you to give 2022 exam. Most of you, of course, it depends on your preparation. If if your preparation is very good, 21 exam, you can have a very good attempt, you can clear the exam also. So what is happening nowadays? The cycle keeps repeating, not the COVID cycle. So the cycle of preparation, the cycle of results, the cycle of our own interaction with so many students, both successful and unsuccessful students, every year. So that I am again going through that experience. So for example, so nearly 300 students have registered, for one-on-one mocks. So those who have cleared prelims. So for already 60-70 students have taken one-on-one mocks, and majority of them are students of test series, core batch, mains test series, and also OGP. What I see in them every year, those who clear mains, that some of them repeatedly clear, some of them have cleared in their first mains, some of them have cleared in their first attempt. So there are certain qualities that we see in these students, year after year. So what makes some of them clear regularly, and what makes some individuals clear in their very first attempt, and some of those who do not clear prelims in their first attempt or two consecutive prelims in previous attempts will also go on clearing mains. Now you know that all three stages are difficult, right? They are getting difficult, they are getting very tough from the aspirant's viewpoint. Tough in the sense that the element of uncertainty, the element of unpredictability is entering all three stages. So what is the best way to prepare for these stages, where despite very good preparation, right, despite your consistent hard work, there is a chance that you might still end up failing in one of these stages. Now what is the best way to make sure that even that doesn't happen, that even in the light of uncertainty you are able to sail through all three stages? So can someone answer? So what kind of qualities it requires, what kind of effort it requires? Of course, consistency is good. So I have seen people who are consistent, who are working, who work hard regularly, even they have failed in mains, some of them. Then what? Yeah, answer writing. Like I know people who have written 1,000 answers, even they have failed in mains. Okay, good. One good point. Like understanding the demand of the question and writing, meeting the demand in the question. Then, what about qualities that are related to, the way you prepare for the exam? Okay, in prelims, elimination, and all. Then, when it comes to the entire exam, now more than anything, you have to look at this exam as one whole, WHOLE, right? So you cannot create compartments in this examination. Everything that you do on a day-to-day basis has implications for prelims, mains, and interview. Okay, this is my realization year after year. Like for example, I told you I am taking many mocks for so many people. So some of the individuals are meeting for the first time. They were students here, but for the first time they are meeting after mains. And there are students whom have been consistently meeting. Some they were in OGP, then they came into core batch. So core batch to mains test series. So they were regularly showing answers. So I know some of them. So when you meet someone regularly, you know their personality also, right? So suddenly after mains, some people come, and when you meet them, when you start taking mock, you realize that they are actually disconnected from this entire interview demand. So what interview demands, what personality test demands, so they are actually not, they haven't trained themselves to meet the demand of the interview. So that is the reason I am mentioning that every day what you do should be integrated with respect to both mains and interview. So I'll come there. Before that, okay, so what qualities you need apart from consistency, skills, and then I already gave some hint in the then integrated approach. Very good. Facing uncertainty every day. That's a very good point actually. Then very good. Command over the content of the syllabus. Who said that? Good. Then what else? So what is your experience so far? So you've been preparing for 6 months, 8 months, maybe more than that. You would have started preparation before coming here. So how is your experience? Like, how is your confidence level right now? Do you think right now in this moment, just if you can think for a few seconds that you are going to clear this exam, this attempt or next attempt? Like, how many of you realistically, confidently feel that I'm going to clear this exam? Like, I'm going to definitely get IAS or IPS. How many of you feel that right now? Very good. That is encouraging. So most of you are raising your hands. So the question is, how deep that conviction is within you, that belief that you are definitely going to clear, how deep rooted it is within you. Have you asked that? So if it is deep rooted, if it is very strong within you, that desire, that determination, you will actually never deviate from the whole process. You will never actually get demotivated also, right? So what I have observed in these people, those who are clearing regularly, is that one important trait, those who actually go on to clear, is that they are down to earth, humble. These are very normal qualities, but they are willing to make mistakes, and they are not ashamed of revealing their mistakes. And if somebody gives them feedback, if somebody says that this is the mistake you are doing, this is what you have to correct, these individuals will ensure that not one time, 2 times, consistently, that they will work on these mistakes throughout the year, and they are aware that there is no end to these mistakes, right? So till the level of personality test, they will know that they are making mistakes, and they want to correct those mistakes, get the guidance at any cost, persist with people who can help them, take all the necessary help, and make sure that they go on clearing every stage. At least I get such kind of like 4 to 5 people every year, and I see that they definitely go on to clear. And nowadays mentors are also getting such kind of students. Every mentor is telling me that they have at least 5 to 10 students who have such kind of nature. And so that is the cycle which I witness year after year, that these individuals haven't created their own nest or shell where they think that I'm getting good classes, I'm getting good tests, I'm already scoring very well, my marks are good, so I'm writing answers regularly, I'm writing essays regularly. I'll get it reviewed by the friend in the library, senior in the library, or some mentor, and then I'll just continue that journey. Even that also helps. It is not that that doesn't help. At least if you are doing that much, that is still a progress. But what is important is that coming and speaking to people who have experience in this field, that is the most important thing. I am not telling this to highlight my own importance or importance of mentors, because unfortunately what happens, then another, the part of this cycle is that some people come after 1, 2, 3 years. They say that I should have listened to you, I should have come to you regularly. Every year after means this repeats. I should have written all the tests. You told me to write all the tests, but I didn't write. Out of 28, I wrote only 10, 12, 14, some 20 also. But I didn't come for evaluation with any mentors or you. Right? I mean, why regret when you have an opportunity to, improve, right? So that is one trait which that also helps in the interview, because by the time you are regular with us, okay, so it is not me only, like we are nearly 20 plus mentors. You can be regular with them. The thing is, we will be able to help you in the personality test also. For example, now when I'm interviewing, when I'm taking these DAPs, people sometimes I get scared with the kind of academic record and extracurriculars some people have done. So people from IITs, IIM, some foreign universities, so majority of them, so many of them, right? So are willing to come, sit, and take these mocks, right? So that humility, that is more than humility. It's about willingness to seek guidance, willingness to improve upon their weaknesses, overcome their weaknesses. So that is one element that is fundamental in this examination. So you may be gaining knowledge, you may be doing so well in test series, but if you treat this exam as one integrated whole, then you will realize you may clear prelims. See, without guidance, if your scores are very good, you might clear prelims, but again mains, you may do well in your optional because you have absolute hold on your subject. You may do well in some GS papers, but again you have to be good in all the papers, right? So those who are good in all the papers in mains, now they are the ones who are clearing mains. That is again another trend. So somebody may be extremely good in optional, somebody may be extremely good in essay, but if their content is weak with respect to GS papers, again they are not clearing. Now what is happening? The margin between the highest scorer and the cutoff is actually decreasing. The optional scores are coming down, and there is tight competition in GS 1 to 3 papers, right? So you have to be very good in every department. So how many of you are giving this attempt? 21. Okay, so how is your preparation? So I have few things to say. If you want to give 21 attempt, so there are 3-4 things to be taken care, like consider. You consider them and then only give this attempt. So number one consideration is completion of optional. This is extremely important. If your optional subject is completed, like not just the coaching part, your own self-study, plus you are in a position to write at least few answers. If not very good in answer writing, at least you should be decent. Like for example, now we have after prelims how many days? 75 days for mains. So 75 days must be divided equally to address all the papers. So for, in some cases including the compulsory languages. Someone might have someone may be Kannadiga, but you may be out of touch with Kannada, right? Or you may want to take Hindi. So you have to give time for that optionals, both papers, essay, ethics and GS 1 to 3 papers. So you have to write rigorously. You have to see that even if your optional is good right now, how many days you require post prelims to make sure that you actually can answer all the questions that appear in the mains question paper, right? So that you can, there are, again, when you write the mains paper, I'm not scaring you, right? What I'm telling is the truth, right? I have to tell the truth. I cannot just falsely motivate you, say that, pump you up and say that, okay, go give this attempt, you will pass it, right? So I used to do that in the first 1 or 2 years, like 14, 15, right? Now, as you get more mature, more wise, you will learn to tell the truth as it is. Again, while writing the optional, you have to complete the paper, right? Completing paper is not enough. With quality answers, you have to complete the paper. So quality answers means very good presentation, very good structuring, very good number of examples that are not available in the usual coaching materials, right? So if you can, now everybody, let us assume that everyone sitting in the classroom are anthropology students, and you have been taught anthropology and you have given notes. If reading that notes itself is kind of Herculean task and you have read thoroughly, and if that is the end in itself, the notes, if everyone reproduces the same content in mains answers, then everyone's marks will go below average, right? So what I meant by quality examples, in addition to the notes you have, you should add to that content your own, okay, examples, standard textbooks, current affairs. It depends on optional to optional, right? And those examples you must be able to recall and write in the actual answers, right? So then only you can actually dream of scoring somewhere. If 280 is the highest in your optional subject, 260 to 270 you can score. Otherwise, even with very good coaching, very good material that you have, if everyone reads the same, there is no way that you are going to get more than 220, 230. It's impossible unless there is an element of individuality in your answers, your own investment of time, your own investment of research, enriching your notes, answers. It can be through better presentation, better structuring. It is same for all other GS papers. Okay, so now you have to ask the question. The parameter one is that how good you are in the optional, how much time you require to achieve all these things after prelims. Now you cannot do it. Now I won't suggest you to do this. Till end of April, maybe you can like spend 2, 3, 4 hours to, provided you are not attending any classes, right? So that you can do. But again, you don't have that luxury. Now the second parameter is that how good you are in the static subjects. Clearing prelims entirely depends on your strong hold on basics of the static syllabus. Okay, so static, starting with art and culture, ancient, medieval, modern history, economy, geography, even general science, environment, agriculture part, okay, polity, economy, all these, the static part, when I say static, that is basically, that is there in the NCERT textbooks and in your classroom notes. So if your concept, so here when it comes to static, I believe that the classroom notes are enough here, like to clear prelims, right? Plus if you read NCERT books, that is even more better because it strengthens your conceptual base thoroughly, right? You will be able to understand concepts, link concepts, apply those concepts if you read NCERT textbooks. If you have done that, then you should think of giving this attempt. The third one, I hope you are giving preliminary mock tests regularly, right? So far I think every day we have conducted the small test, every week we have conducted, and we have given access to test series for you, extra test series. If you need more, you can ask, we'll give more tests, and I encourage you to come to classroom and give the tests. So we have so many classroom, there is space, right? You don't have to worry about the COVID, you can sit anywhere and write the classroom tests. Now in these tests, if your marks is less than 80 right now, but you have the confidence of following the revision timetable that we started yesterday, or your own timetable, I recommend following the revision timetable. But if that is not possible, you have your own timetable where you can revise static part. But by mid-May, if you can score 110 in all our tests or in any open mock test, by mid-May, 100 plus, or if you're scoring, it should be consistent, right? Consistent in at least 10 plus tests. Okay, so by then full length tests will start, especially in the full length tests. So if you're scoring 100 plus or 110 plus, definitely you should give prelims, even when the parameter 1 optional is not so good, right? Still, because you'll get to write the mains, experience the whole mains cycle. And I believe smartly, if you strategize after prelims, somehow you can still manage optional. The third one is that. And the fourth one, minimum level of essay and ethics writing skills. Okay, if you haven't written essay till now, ethics answers till now, it's very difficult to learn writing skills of these two papers post prelims. Okay, again it depends on individual intelligence, smartness. I am in a general sense I am telling. Again, that will depend, you can still improve. I am always optimistic, provided you take the feedback very early in the, so during the mains preparation, immediately after prelims, right? If somebody wants to give this 2021 prelims out of parental pressure or just for the sake of getting the experience, getting the exposure, don't give it. That's a stupid decision, right? 10 minutes after the exam, we will give the question paper, right? If you want, come to the center, take the question paper, take OMR and write it in the center only. If you want the experience and exposure, right? Same question paper, you will get within 10 minutes, right? So don't waste your attempt if you are just giving it for the sake of experience, right? How many of, no one will raise the hands, right? So don't do that. I don't understand why people do that. And there are people who come, those who are working in the software industry or in any working professional, somebody come I have been giving this attempt. If I ask which attempt it is, they say 5th, 6th attempt. I haven't cleared prelims. So what did you do in earlier attempts? So I just went and gave. I was working, I didn't have time. I thought anyway I have 6 attempts, I'll keep giving them. No, that is not the attitude the very serious students have, right? So the attitude is that prepare so well, make sure that in one attempt you definitely reach the interview stage, right? To reach the interview stage, if that kind of preparation you have, that kind of improvements you have made to your preparation, then definitely give the attempt. Otherwise, personally I don't recommend. Now, those who are stuck at 70, 80s, how you can improve drastically, to 100, 110 or even 120, there are two things. One is smartness, bit of smartness is required. Second one, if you are not that smart, right, so then you can always rely on hard work. Again, hard work, what kind of hard work? Hard work is not just reading books again and again and again. I don't know, majority of people have this notion that revising Lakshmikant 5 times, revising class notes of all the subject 4-5 times will ensure clearing this exam. Till 2016, it used to be the case. If you had revised all the static 3-4 times, you always had a better chance. 17 onwards, if you have noticed the trend of the question papers, the trend is that 20-30 you can certainly answer. Earlier it used to be 40-50 before 2016 if the preparation was good. So now, even with so good preparation, in the first round, exactly it's very difficult to answer even 25-30 questions. Doesn't matter how brilliant you are, how long you have prepared, how much coaching you have taken. The element which helps someone sail through these preliminary exams is that in remaining 30-40 questions, you have to attempt 75-80 questions, right? So let us say 30 you have attempted. Now the 50 questions you are basically taking gamble, right? You know that 50 questions you actually have read. It's not that they are completely unfamiliar. You have read about them, but the options, the kind of options they give, out of 3-4 options, you may be knowing 3, you may be knowing 2, but not all the options for sure. Now you have to start eliminating, intelligent guessing. So all these skill part you will never get just by revising any material 4-5 times. So that will come only with extremely aggressive solving of question papers, starting with the previous year question papers. At least 3-4 times you should solve last 10-year question papers repeatedly. Again, not blindly solving them, smartly solving them. Smartly means divide them into themes, divide them into, understand the trend, see which areas are given prominence every year. Okay, understanding the essence of the question paper based on last 5 to 10 years papers will give you the clarity to focus on the most important areas when you start reading static or current affairs. So how many of you have solved previous year papers? Okay, how many times? 2, 3, 1. When did you do that? When did you solve this previous year papers? A month back. Okay, that is good. If you have done that, that is very good. But start doing it again. But start doing it again not just for the sake of testing your knowledge, but to understand the pattern of the exam. Right? You have to be very smart here, like very focused to understand every option, why they are asking this option. You will see a very broad trend when you actually focus on these questions. Most of the questions are intended to test your fundamentals plus their application part, especially related to the most important issues that are happening around us. It can be art and culture, it can be science, it can be agriculture. They will never go beyond whatever is happening around us. The most important aspects of socio-economic, political, environmental, cultural aspects that we deal with on day-to-day basis, right? It's not like everything under sky you have to read. So that smartness will come only by analyzing in depth the previous year papers and solve previous year papers. Read the static, like you can divide like say 5 days for one subject. After reading the static content, again you have to take our question bank, like our previous insights question papers or this year papers. So try to solve at least 100 minimum 100 questions every day. This is for people who want to give this year exam, right? So if you are not solving like like around 100 questions every day, if you are stuck at 70-80 marks, you will always be stuck at same range. If you want to see the drastic improvement, where you want to, and this is not something that I am telling you just in the air, right? So this is tested and tried method where it has worked for many people, whether they were brilliant or not, it has worked for many people. Practice in a structured manner will always help in this regard. So in the month of April I recommend 100, by May like 200-300 questions per day, right? So I know that. So when I am speaking, I am completely aware that you are attending classes, you still have so much to complete, and we will ensure that everything will be completed. For the batch which geography is not completed, it will be completed. For those batch whatever is not completed, the syllabus will be completed, right? So in fact, as I told earlier, these core areas, geography, polity, economy and environment, so the classroom notes are enough. Okay, so if you find if you are short of time to read textbooks, absolutely rely on them, and we will be making you available the booster classes, right, for a quick revision as well. The APEC thing what we did will be given to you as part of the course for quick revision. right? So we will do everything from our side to ensure that your knowledge base increases and you do adequate amount of practice. But unfortunately for you people, the batch started very late due to COVID and all. So that is the reason somewhere I believe that if you really want to, but of course it depends on your socio-economic and mental status. 22 can be the best attempt for you. I personally believe that, because again that you have to take the call based on your the kind of parameters I gave in the beginning. How many of you are planning 22 attempt? Okay, can you give one or two reasons why? Yes. Yeah. So 22 attempt, why again I recommend is that you will have core batch from July, August, right? By end of June, by end of July, if you can complete all the static part and optional. Though you want to give 22 attempt, remember optional plus static part, just be perfect with them, these two things, right? Then the core batch entrance will happen. Okay, so if you come in the top, again you can freely continue in that. But even if you don't come in the top, for OGP student, what we usually do is that we will allow you to come to the classroom and write the exam without evaluation, the proper evaluation. But we mentors will continue to evaluate. You can bring the copies, right? So where you can show essay, you can show ethics without paying anything, right? So that can be done. So again, if your static is good, then you have every chance of clearing the core batch entrance exam. And then for 1 year till next year prelims, 1 month before prelims, you will be not attending any classes, but you will be regularly writing the tests. Like after every 2 days, 3 days, you will be writing test, and that is the best thing you can do for 22 attempt. In addition to that, write at least 2 to 3 test series by April 22 of optional subject. Okay, so you can start in June, like June, July, August, 1 round you can write, right? After November, December, 1 test series. Again, February, March, another optional test series. And then again, after prelims, 1 more. I mean, you have to be, I use the word aggressive, right? You have to be at the forefront of this entire preparation. The more you practice, the more you write, the better it is. So when you go to write mains, imagine like you have written like 2 to 3 test series, you already know answers to all the questions in the actual mains. So most of the optionals. Similarly, writing core test regularly. As part of core test, you will write like 40-50 essays, hundreds of ethics answers, thousands of GS answers. In a way, the problem of writing, 20 out of 20 answers, quality answers, presentation, and I'm actually thinking of recruiting one handwriting specialist from July onwards for those who do not have better handwriting, and that is an absolute must nowadays. If your handwriting is poor, I request you to leave the preparation or improve your handwriting. You have only 2 options. Okay, I mean, if it is illegible, I am not asking you to write very beautiful handwriting. If it is illegible, if somebody cannot read what you are writing except you, right? So there is no point. Every year I see such kind of people failing in this exam regularly. So in universities, nobody cares about your handwriting, right? You will be few in number, they will read. Here like thousands of people. And I have spoken to 2 chairmen, and they insist that they have pressed on this point, that very good presentation, very good handwriting are 2 key factors in mains actually, right? So they also display some of your qualities, right? And they actually, it's not that they give extra marks if you write neatly. It is just that it makes their job extremely easy, pleasant. Evaluation is the most boring job on the planet, in my opinion, right? I mean, imagine one guy sitting like reading 1,000 answers, same answers again and again and again for so many days, right? You have to take their mental health into consideration, and accordingly you have to prepare. Every silly think to the biggest thing matter in this examination. The final rank is sum of hundreds of factors actually. It's not just like, you gain the knowledge, you write and, you pass. It's not like that. Your attitude, the way you conduct yourself day-to-day basis, the way you think on day-to-day basis, how positive you are, how optimistic you are, and the way you look at the future, the way you have understood concept, the way you apply them, right? The way you always resort to your own individuality, your own originality, ultimately that decides the outcome in this examination. So you have to be good in everything, right? And again, I am talking, so when I talk this, again, my imagination is somebody who is going to be in top 10 or like, rank 1. So I'm not just talking in terms of just being in the list, right? And I believe that, everyone have that ability. It is just like people don't understand the demand. People don't, even if somebody understands what it takes to do all those things, some people do not put the required efforts. So we are all different individuals, right? At the end of the day, we have our own personalities, we have our own habits, we have our own thinking. But if you want to be in this journey, if you want to become IAS, IPS or Indian Foreign Service officer tomorrow, you have to shed all those things, come out of your comfort zone every hour in the day, every day in the month, every month in the year. You have to come out of comfort zone, do what is necessary to crack this exam, right? And in a way, this is again, year after year I realize how meaningfully, beautifully this exam is designed. It literally transforms your personality. I mean, those who actually understands the essence of the exam will realize that your personality also gets improved in this exam. Not everyone's, but majority will see that it also helps you become better person. And some of the answers of those who have failed multiple times in the mock interviews, when I ask, there are some questions, in interview they ask, if somebody has spent 5 years, 4 years in this journey, we ask them, see, you graduated from IIT, you worked in that company, and then you left the job. Now for 4 years, you were preparing. So don't you think you have wasted your youth and your talent and your years preparing for something so uncertain? So what is the answer they give? So what is the very good, best answer for this question? Yes, what? Good. They learn from mistakes. Okay. It is worth taking risks. Then, good. These are the points. But how you put it matters. How honestly you put. How genuinely you put it. How, like when I say how honestly, how genuinely, without indication of guilt, right? Without feeling sorry about yourself that you have spent this time. So when you say that, there should be confidence in your voice, right? So there should be clarity in your voice when you give the answer to this question, saying that yes sir, you are right that I have spent 4-5 years preparing for this examination, but this examination has transformed my personality. For example, then again you have to give example. You cannot just say that it has transformed my personality, I have become better person, I am more resilient now, I am more patient, I am more humble, and I am more stronger. You cannot just say, you have to say like why. You might have failed. So one example yesterday one was giving that so I have written 3 mains in 3 years after leaving my job. But in these 3 years, so I was also part of my mother's treatment. So 20 hours I was taking care of her, and I was also preparing. She had like kidney failure, and there was kidney transplantation. So I had to take care of all the aspects. So at the same time, I have cleared 3. So, and I could see the personality. Such kind of experiences, such kind of dedication both to personal and your aspiration will actually help you become even more mature and wiser. So there are like individuals, and other day for the new batch, so Hemant had come. Hemant, he got IAS Karnataka. He used to be student in core batch, and he was sharing an example of an officer, visually impaired officer. Sorry, I forgot his name. So Madhya Pradesh, 2008 batch. Like there was gradual impairment of vision. So he was fine. So there were three brothers. Two brothers lost vision by the age of 18. Parents thought that the third son will not face such kind of impairment, but it happened to him also. But he decided after engineering to pursue civil services. So he had to use these magnifying lenses and other devices, aids. So it took like 10 hours to read 10 pages for him in the initial days. So he worked hard alone without coaching, and then he cleared and he got rank 142, scored as equally good as other people in the competition, and got IAS after fighting with the DOPT. They were not ready to give it. So he was telling that if somebody without with certain disability can do it, we have seen this. Like I am sure that you have watched hundreds of videos about this, right? Always the question comes to that motivation is that motivation lasts till you watch that video or you listen to these kind of stories. Then what happens? So that period, you watch the video and then you go back and watch another movie, or you go back and write an essay or answer, right? Or you go back for a walk, you come back more stronger, think about it, and then become a completely different personality. So it all depends on individual to individual, but how you decide what you want to be, what you want to take out of this life, explore the life you have, ultimately decides whether you are going to be successful or not, right? So this session was about prelims, and so there is no fixed strategy. Ultimately you have to evolve your own strategy, but in a general, practice will beat anything. Again, practicing, you have to be very careful. Don't take every test series that exists and solve them one time or half of, right? First, our textbook based papers, subject wise papers, do minimum 3 times revision. If you are planning this year, minimum 3 years, 3 rounds of revision of these 2 test papers, and then take any test series that are good in the market and solve them 1 time, 2 time as per your availability of time, but don't ignore our test series, especially the textbook test series. Out of these two, if you want to give more time, textbook based test series, do minimum 3 times of revision, the solution part. And revising one test series multiple times, my recommendation is, because it helps you get so much content for mains also, right? You will actually remember. If you do only one time, it is just like glossing through the surface. You will be just familiar with the content, but you will never retain it. So that one mistake you should avoid. Doing so many test series again might help you clear prelims, but the retention part will not happen. To retain the content, to retain it, so that after prelims you can make use of it, you do at least 3 times revision of our test series, right? And CSAT, so many people failed last year. I told every paper, every factor is important. CSAT, don't take it for granted. Minimum 1 hour every day you have to practice at least 20-30 full length CSAT papers. You should solve in the classroom alone, not at home. Start with previous year papers. Now like we have 9 years papers, solve them, and then you can take those printouts, come to the classroom. CSAT absolutely solve only in the classroom. Speed is the key there. Okay, the papers are not that difficult if you already graduated from science, engineering, art, law, commerce, whatever it is, but it requires minimum preparation. But what is important is the speed and application of common sense, like not getting stuck in one question out of ego or something, moving out quick, like you have to be very quick. So that is the key in CSAT. So to practice that, you have to come to classroom and give again and again as many tests as possible. Like last 2 years question papers we have, you take them and solve them, give equal importance, right? So what else, any doubts you have? So how many of you are determined that, okay, I ask this question in every class, like top 10, anybody? Very good. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Don't want to raise your hand, Jayant. So we have 6 ranks in top 10. Top 20? Good. So you decided, nice. 1 2. Top 100? Good. I mean, it's possible. I don't know like why you are hesitant. So I keep telling our stories. We didn't have anything actually. Like in Bangalore, you have a classroom. You have someone like me or our mentors or teachers to come and tell you what to do. Right? We didn't have online sources, no coaching, nothing. We used to sit. I used to sit like in a village, in a room full of books. I know your room is also like, all unnecessary books around you, right? Like, so imagining myself as an intellectual, right? Dreaming like, top 10 first rank, right? Was working hard. It is not that I was not doing. I used to read War and Peace when I used to get bored. Then, move to other books, other classics, then come back to this. Like reading, every day was spent reading only. But not reading, what was required to pass the exam. Nobody was that. We never solved a test. We never wrote answers. There was no, I think maybe the exam was like that, right? There was no one to tell you what to do, and you have access to everything. That is why I keep wondering, like, so what is it about humans? Like, we are all humans. Like, some people are privileged, they have everything. Some people are not so privileged, they lack something. Some of them do clear, some of these also clear. But majority of people who have access to many things, who actually can make use of them and go on to, clearing this exam is nothing actually. I mean, this is not the end of your life, this is not the ultimate goal. I actually tell people to think bigger than this exam, right? IAS is just like one step. So don't, again, the importance of IAS and all these posts will go on getting diminished in coming years. After like 5, 10, 20 years, right? So officer's role, like any service, will actually get diminished. So many things are entering our lives, right? Not just technology aspects, there are so many things. But beyond that, you have to explore what best you can do. Like example, you can be an author, right? World famous author if you want. You can be a world famous speaker. You can be a leader, right? And again, when people get IAS, they celebrate and they get settled. Because if they see IAS as the end, they get settled with IAS and happy with the IAS. And they don't see things beyond IAS or IPS. Yes, like some people do work hard and try to leave their own mark in these services. But if that quality is not evident in the preparation days, right, the way you prepare, the way you see this exam as an end in itself, then you will get all the stress, depression and everything. So when the things do not go in your favor, right? So don't get stuck here. Parallelly keep thinking even bigger things. Prepare for the exam as per the plan, as per the resources available, but parallelly prepare your mind for something bigger, not something worse, something bigger. So that way you will be able to handle pressure as well as enjoy the learning. Otherwise, if you see IAS as an end, are you able to understand what I'm saying this? Right? So are you able to understand the importance of this? So I am seeing from the perspective of, I am telling it not from my perspective. I've seen hundreds of people, right? So think big always. Think big not just in terms of ambition in life, while you write answer, while you write essay, right, while you solve the prelims. So never underestimate yourself, never underestimate your abilities. You have to self discover them. It is there, right? It is there within you. Kannada, how many of you are Kannadigas here? Nice. ರೊಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಂತಾರಲ್ವಾ? Right. So somebody translate it into English now. What is ರೊಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದು? What? More aggressive. So that is the attitude you should have. Never care for anyone. If people doubt your abilities, just discard them. Don't believe them. Don't go to them. Don't talk to them. Just smile at them. Right? If people put pressure on you, smile at them. If people try to drag you down, kick them. Right? But never underestimate your abilities. Once you, I don't know, it's aggressive is not the English word. So rochigedadu for those Hindi English, it's kind of rochigedadu only. So aggressive, becoming aggressive, that you rise like a phoenix, like in a sense that every day, every hour, right? Not after just a failure. So that attitude will not just help you succeed in this exam, beyond this exam for sure. Will prepare you for any worst situation in the life. You will always be calm, you will always be relaxed, you will face the situation with a smile. You will just ignore things, right? Ignore in the sense that you are ready, like, okay, this is the way it is, this is the life, right? And you understand all these things, then you are already successful person, right? So now almost the batch is coming to end. If somebody can come and talk few words about your whole experience, something good, so that we can increase our admissions. No, I'm just kidding. You can be honest. Say whatever you feel about. Like, will you come and talk here? Like few words. First rank. What is your name? Ananya Roy. Good. So, who wants to come? Jayant, please.
Thank you, sir, for this encouraging talk. And I think all of us have had good experiences throughout this journey. What I personally felt on coming to Insights, so I had certain baseline, some criteria that I would use to evaluate any coaching, or because since I'm from up north, and I had that option of going to Delhi, and but like I went to college here only, and Insights had been doing like it had been known in online space for quite a while. So I thought National Law School, it's close by only, and so yeah, so I thought why not give it a shot. So I came here, and first off, what really impressed me was the kind of, so that they gave the timetable for the year-long courses, and they actually, for the most part, they stuck to it, which is like very uncommon given these uncertain times. Be it like online mode, and they actually managed it pretty well, because I remember I initially joined as an online student back from my home, and I was like a bit skeptical regarding how like coachings or how they manage. But I remember like Pradeep sir is my mentor, and I used to like sit with him late in the evenings also. He used to call me, and he would evaluate my answers. And one good thing was that the mentors over here, the teachers, they keep on motivating you, encouraging you. And when I came to Bangalore, and I met Vinay sir, first thing he told me was that keep on meeting me on a weekly basis or every 10 days. Show something to me, show your ethics answers or essays. So that was like a big booster for like any novice entering into this cycle. And then even if you don't know the teacher personally, because I had been attending it online only, but I just got the contact details of the teachers, and they were very encouraging, and I could just show them, like Manjunath sir, I showed my polity test. So every teacher was like that. So this is quite something rare in this, like pretty commercialized sphere that this whole UPSC journey is. And so I think it also motivates you to perform well, do most on your part, seeing that your teachers are like actually taking the initiative to go beyond the normal hours of like teaching. So for me, and I think most of us agree with this, that a lot of learning happens outside the classroom, outside these lecture hours. So like we can meet Aditya sir. I met Aditya sir for prelims strategy, and so we have like these dedicated people who are actually experts at that, and they are very humble and very dedicated to this entire cycle, and they would sit with you for hours, clarify your doubts, and like individual mentorship is like actually a boon. They like for me, Pradeep sir has like helped me curate my entire timelines based on individual level of expectation and preparation based on your like optional preparation. So I think that's a really good thing. So I started writing essays in early December when I came here. So 12 of like Sunday essays, and apart from that, I think 6 in the super core. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, sir. I completely agree with what Jayant said. Initially, I graduated, I did my master's, and I joined work. And I always wanted to do UPSC, but there was a slight fear, or not fear, that hesitance, telling, you have to work hard and all of that, but there are these higher ups who mainly come from the legislature, clan, that the pressure and all of that. But finally I had the guts to decide, and I came to meet Vinay sir. I still remember the first meet. He just told, just believe in yourself, you can do it, there's nobody who can stop you. So then the very first meet I met Vinay sir, I just knew that this was the place that's going to boost me. Irrespective of which background you come from, irrespective of what is your education status, you may be a ranker, in class, but you have chances of your uncertainty. So the only key, what I've learned coming to Insights, is it's your dedication, perseverance, patience, and hard work. It doesn't matter if you're a first ranker at academics in school or you're an average student, all of us are in the same boat. So I also belong to Pradeep sir's mentorship. There has not been one day where I did not get motivated from him. Talking as a girl, there may be a lot of hardships or your mental, emotional breakdown and all of that. He's not hesitated twice to talk to me openly or whatever it may be. So the space he's created for me as a mentee is, if I have any self-doubt, I don't think twice to reach out to him. So it's always like he's kept me going, and he always motivates me to do something better. And in respect to classes, I had my own doubts, honestly, because first things first, I joined batch 3. I was very, very skeptical because what I studied was commerce. I had no idea what was polity. History was back then in school. But after coming here, the kind of teachers we have, they are so well versed with their teaching or education, and it's so simplified, like even a layman can understand what they're trying to say. So it's not like you got to be these extreme experts. So when I met Vinay sir, the only thing that got is how simple and how humble sir is. I think that's one thing that just got me, because as he told, adu rochigelladu antaralla, adu ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಾನು honestly ತುಂಬಾ aggressive. So Pradeep sir always tells me, calm down with the way you are, but not within your preparation. So adu rochigelladu in preparation alirli, not when you meet people or anything. So as sir told, with that transformation, I honestly have transformed as a person, and even at home, they're just like, how are you so patient? We can't, see you so calm. I mean, ಏನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ನಿನ್ಗೆ? What magic is insights doing to you? And I don't know, thank you, sir, for the wonderful opportunity you give us as students. And every time sir talks, he makes sure that you feel you will be one among the top rankers, which is a very, very important and driving force for us as students. Thank you, sir.
So if you want to come and complain, that is also okay here. Somebody wants to come and complain, you can actually do that. So if at all I have improved, it's because of brick bats, right? Somebody has thrown stones at us, and I've always collected them, right? Build whatever it is today. It's the criticism and it's the feedback, right? So in the beginning I used to be sensitive, like I used to be alone, like the early part of the insights. Then you learn, like the more you get criticism. I am not perfect, we are not perfect, what we are doing is not perfect, you know that, and I know that you are also not perfect, right? That everybody should understand. But the intention, right, intention behind our efforts, the consistent efforts we put, so that actually should differentiate who we are and who you are, right? Anybody wants to just say a few words? Should I motivate you for that? Nobody wants to say something. You can say anything you want, or you want to say as a topper in the end. How many of you feel that? So if at all I give you a feedback only as a topper, or only after you evaluate my essays? Okay. So there are people, I remember one Avinash, Jayant, and Vikas, then Pooja, then Shiv Kumar, right? I remember few names from this batch who have written more than 20 essays and shown me like more than 20 essays, right? And I have made them wait. They have waited for some time, and I have asked them to come another day. They have come back again on another day, sometime on another week. So these are the qualities that actually differentiate. So I just mentioned like 5 names. Be 100% sure you keep this clip in 1 or 2 attempt, they will be IAS officers, right? Because you know them, like you know them regularly, and of course, like from my perspective I'm telling the same thing. Pradeep sir will tell, Sudeep will tell, Manjuna sir will tell. They have their own set of their consistent students, so make use of them, make use of whatever is available here. And we shouldn't give scope for ourselves to complain about anything, right? Later regret about anything. So if at all you are here in this journey, it is just to succeed, right? Not just come waste your time, especially in these so sad times. And we are kind of taking risk to conduct classes regularly. So I don't think any other institution is doing this, meeting their students, mentoring them regularly, right? So I don't think anyone is actually doing in any part of the country. In Delhi it is complete shutdown. Okay, so in Bangalore, again, if you can make use of these things, I think this year competition or next year competition you will have advantage. Most of them are preparing alone in their homes, right? Clueless, lack of guidance, lack of motivation, right? So when you are here, when you are making use of the things, make sure that everything goes in the right direction, right? So any doubts you can ask me. If you don't want to speak, you can ask doubts. No doubts? So all of you are ready to get ranks. Okay, all the best. So don't get depressed, stressed out because of what is happening. Most importantly, take care of your health. The news is very scary, right? And the best bet is improve your immunity. Work on immunity. Don't sit idle. Don't ignore food and health. Eat well. Spend money on improving your immunity. I think immunity is the best bet here, to even if you get COVID positive, unfortunately. So to overcome, the immunity is the best thing, right? So I am meeting so many people, like of course, I don't know, it might have come and gone like 3-4 times. Never fallen ill, except like usual cold, cough. Yearly it comes twice, but if at all I'm strong, good immunity, little bit of exercise, but more than anything else, being calm and relaxed, right? So if at all something is helping me, not taking tension in about anything. You come and blame here, I won't take tension. You come and complain, I won't take tension. I'll note down the thing, I'll improve it. I'll take my time, but I'll never get tensed about it, right? So I think staying calm and relaxed will also help you to deal with COVID and deal with the examination. So wish you all the best. So thank you so much, Tanusha and Joan, for your feedback. So if somebody is willing, you can come and give feedback personally also. If you are hesitant to come on stage, and if you don't want to go public, right? So thank you so much. All the best.